Well, good morning, you guys.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Real Talk with SLR and guests.
Yes.
You guys know who these people are?
Hi, guys.
Never seen them.
Yeah, never seen them before.
All I heard when we walked in was stranger dangers.
Guys, this is our very sweet friends, Tara and Jason from White Rock Homestead. If you guys don't know, go check them out. We'll put a link down in the description below. Y'all have been out helping Mama V Possum Run Homestead.
Yeah, raising the roof.
Raising the roof.
Raising the roof.
Yeah.
Yes.
They've been out here, how long now? Like 5 days? Ish?
We came Friday.
We lose track of days.
Yeah, it's been a big blur. There's been so much going on.
Yeah, and we're kind of, I don't want to say stuck here because we're not stuck because we're totally blessed, but our truck broke down, so we are waiting for that to get fixed, so we're making the best use of our time.
Yeah. Oh, I know you guys been putting it in a lot over with the roof raising party with everybody. You guys saw them on our video that we had out last. A lot of work done. She is the main person that was feeding everybody, and I'm so grateful for you for taking that for the team.
Hey, you know your strengths and you know your weakness.
Yeah.
I can cut a mean board, but I can cook a better food, So yeah, that's where I'm gonna go.
Every single morning we showed up. There was some hot coffee. We had breakfast order like on demand.
Yes.
You were killing it.
I love to cook.
Yeah. And she's a nurse too. So like if any, drifter down moments happened, any splinters and booties or anything like that, anybody was to hurt themselves, she's medically trained for all of that. So it was really nice to have an extra set of eyes that was a professional in that area. Although those services weren't necessarily needed.
No, they weren't, but I did come prepared. I have 2 big boxes full of medical supplies if needed. And, hey, it never hurts.
Yeah.
Yes. She's only had to bust out 1 bandage so far. And there was a little puncture wound.
Yeah.
And I did finally bleed yesterday, so I figured this is an official project, but I just managed to get a splinter under my fingernail.
Oh no, those are the worst.
Okay, I've officially done something because it's not a real project if I don't bleed.
Right.
Hey, I will say you have been doing more than just a little something. You were putting it in on roof day. You were running around like a freaking crazy chicken with no head. You were doing all the things.
Oh, and he did. No. Oh, that wasn't the chicken dance day, was it? No.
No.
Maybe
that was like the pre-trial for the chicken dance.
That was on our live. I had to do the chicken dance, but it's one of those, and it's so great. We were excited to come over, one, just to be able to hang out with everybody.
Yeah.
But then to be able to do the work, and then, as you guys are aware, right, you're doing work by yourselves all the time. So to have an extra set of hands, even if it's just a matter of handing stuff up. And one of the greatest things I think amongst most of us is we all know when it's a time to lead and we know when it's a time to follow or support. And, I got up on the roof a little bit here and there. What was needed. And it was great. But being one of the bigger fellas around there, that roof was a little, and I have no fear of heights, but it's one of those know your place and use your height advantage. So I could be handed tools up and getting things and knowing what those tools are, or knowing, hey, I know what they're about to do. Let me grab the next thing that's they're gonna need, so that all they're just like, it's like a surgeon's office, scalpel, hammer.
It's like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, and I think
it's so awesome.
Like you just said, you having the knowledge of like what's about to come next, that saves so much time because if you know what's going to come next, you can prepare for it. And then, like you said, scalpel, you already know, you're already ready. And so, when Gary and Mike and Drew were up there, like most of the time they were flying monkeys, right? But for the next step to be like, oh, I got you covered, bro. Like it's already there. It went by so much faster than had it been, people that didn't necessarily know all the next steps or what's to come next or whatever. So
you rocked it out up there too.
Yeah, just the one day. Just the one day. After I did all the blocking, I'm not scared or anything, but it got to a point where you guys are going to see in an upcoming video, I believe, what day 2 and 3 are going to come out tomorrow?
2 and 3 are coming out tomorrow.
Tomorrow, friends. But yeah, you guys will see, like, the guys ended up having to tie in with harnesses and stuff because a 12-12 pitch is no joke. That's almost like a straight up and down wall.
That was, we were not going to be doing that one untouched.
Yeah.
For sure.
And once it got to that point, you know, I'm more in the way. Like, I'd be better ground support.
Yeah.
So again, like you said, we all know our strengths and our weaknesses, and I'm happy and proud that like I was able to get up there. I'm getting over my fear of heights inch by inch, right?
That's
And had he not said that and told me that, you know, you conquered a fear,
Yeah.
I would have never known because you owned it. You were just like up there and walking around. Like I would have had no clue.
Well, when I got up to this roof up here, like I froze and I literally like had a panic attack and I kind of cried. The YouTube has not seen everything because it was longer than what you guys saw of my freak out up there. I did share some of that with you guys,
I
but
do remember.
yeah. And that wasn't, you know, every time that we get up here, because this is much higher, much higher, and there's concrete below. I don't know. It's a mental thing. It's not necessarily that I'm afraid of heights. It's like a physical, involuntary reaction. My stomach feels like it drops a little bit, and then I start getting like dizzy.
Yeah.
You know, and then because I'm feeling dizzy, I feel unsure-footed, and then I'm like, oh, you know.
It's not the height that gets you, it's the fall.
Right.
and the fall itself doesn't even hurt. You're floating down. It's like sudden stop.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
wait a minute. Who hit the brakes here?
Right.
Yeah, and it's, you know, and some of those heights, you know, especially if you have a height anxiety, you know, and I know Gary has ropes course experience. I have ropes course experience. And when you get people up, and I think one of the things that I've noticed of, you know, using that easy comparison of a ropes course is if you go to one that's inside of a building, even though it might be 2 or 3 stories tall, you're inside the building, you don't get that euphoria, kind of, you feel like everything's spinning, as to where if you're outdoors,
Right.
and then, you know, the difference between a steel structure outdoors and then one being in the trees. Because there's moments, like I said, I have no fear of heights whatsoever. But if you get up in this environment, you know, your backyard, you're looking and, you know, the ridge way back there, right? And all of a sudden you realize that I'm higher than those trees that I'm looking way up at. Like, it does. I mean, even somebody that's not afraid of the heights.
Especially when that tree starts swaying in the wind and then you're all, wait a minute.
You know, it's just imagine it.
So definitely know about it because, you know, that is a thing that you have to handle in ropes courses.
Yeah.
It's being able to get people that have that fear and they get up there and they're like, oh, I'm good. And all of a sudden the wind blows or they look around.
Yeah.
And then they get dizzy and then, you know, you've got to calm them down from that. So,
which is a lot more dangerous than one would think.
Yeah.
And trying to get somebody, you know,
Well,
freaked out and locked up in a high area, and then, you know, as a person that you want to go and help them, what they're going to do is they're going to grab you and they're going to try to do anything and everything possible to hold on to you as tight as possible.
And your movement to get to them scares them even more because it's every little motion freaks them out. And, you know, as a fear of getting on a ladder, right?
Yeah.
Well, you start shaking.
Yeah.
Because you're scared, but then the ladder's shaking and you're like, wait a minute, the ladder's going down, and it's really just you shaking, but you can't stop it.
Right. It's involuntary, you know, and
is.
sometimes it'll just smack you. But, you know, Gary's right. It's kind of like if you're trying to save a drowning person, you know, and they're flailing around and you have to know what you're doing and how to save them
sometimes
properly.
it's best to
Otherwise,
knock them out before you start saving them. I mean,
don't knock me out.
sometimes that happens. I'm just saying.
For drowning, maybe.
That was the hardest struggle, you know, because if there is a fear of mine, it is of drowning.
Yeah.
And, you know, I am a very good swimmer, and I did have to get lifeguard certified for a little while. And to go through that training, you have to do an imitation, you know. And the first time I had ever done it was with a swim instructor who happened to be a friend of mine. Not a good plan because they like to really mess with you. And so when you're at the bottom of the pool, not being able to breathe, and they're laughing underwater at you, you know, but you have to realize, all right, I just have to be able to get over it. And coming up with that, sometimes you get done with it and you're like, oh, it wasn't so bad. But in the moment, you don't think about it. You can't. You have to go into fight or flight. And
well, I'm ready to work and not have anxiety today. So I'll stay on the ground.
Well, it should be very smooth sailing. We're not doing anything too crazy. We are going to get back to getting on that deck. And I'm so happy that you guys came to give us a hand with that, because
absolutely
should move along pretty good. And it's pretty straightforward. I mean, it's not anything too crazy right now.
Yeah.
No, but we've had so much, poo-poo weather.
Yeah.
It's been like Russian roulette with it. The whole month of January, pretty much the weather was not conducive for doing this decking.
No.
It was so wet and snowy and icy and just bad, not good for doing it. So now we are here in February. We're finally going to get working on it. And like Gary said, it should be a pretty straightforward day today, but because you guys are here, that's 2 extra people. We might be able to do like what Gary and I could do in 2 days in 1 day today. So that's what we're hoping for, guys.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah. Well, between Gary will definitely be the man with the plan, but like just knowing how we work, I imagine me and you are probably going to be on the ground cutting and measuring and moving things and handing things to them, making sure that they have all the proper bullets and the nail guns and stuff. And it's pretty much going to be you two like up over there, smashing things where it needs to go, measuring things out. So I figure if 2 are up on top and 2 are on bottom and it's just flowing like that,
Yeah.
If you have a different plan, then we'll do something different. But that's just how I know your brain. And I'm like, that's pretty much what Gary's going to want.
We're going to have to just zap some chalk lines, and we'll be able to get it going pretty quick. And
I think that's the fun part, at least for us, what we're experiencing is coming over. Like, yes, we have our own projects, but they've been on kibosh too because the weather.
Yeah.
But when you can come help, like, helping is one thing, and that's awesome, and it makes you feel good. But then it actually is more relieving to come help and work on another project, even if it is harder on a steeper roof or something, because I'm just coming to be the work monkey.
Yeah.
I don't have to be in charge and necessarily think.
Yeah, you just do.
And there's a lot of relaxation and comfort in that, because one, you get to help other people out, which is awesome and amazing every chance you get, but not having to be the one in charge and think the process out because, hey, guess what?
If you say that's how it goes, that's how it goes.
Right.
Yeah.
And not only that, but, we found out when I have a construction background, he had a construction background, but the backgrounds are different. Everyone learns different. And so I had a different technique than he had a different technique.
No.
And being able to come help other people with their projects, you learn more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
I'm gonna let these guys out really quick. Keep rolling with that.
Lola's
thought.
having happy tell over there.
Yeah, she's having. Come on, Lola. Come on.
Relax. Go on. Settle down.
Keep with that thought. My bad.
So you're able to learn other techniques, other tips, other tricks, or even get knowledge for a future project you're working on.
Yes.
And so it's we love helping everybody, but if there's a win-win situation, it's the fact that we're learning too different ways and different fun things to do.
Yeah.
So I'm all about it.
Plus, it gives you like that mental break, right? It's the same thing like when you stare at, paint color 1 or paint color 2, right? And you're looking at it for so long and so long. Sometimes it can all kind of blend together, but then an outside person can look at the situation and figure it out really quick. For instance, the one thing that I can think of is like when we were still living at Camp Life and we had our trailer there, and Anthony and Roxanne had their trailer there. We had a big stick in the middle with the tarp kind of connecting both of the trailers. Well, when Anthony and Roxanne were moving their trailer up over to near where their shed houses are, me and Gary, we were scratching our head like, oh man, well, what are we going to do with the tarp? Because Anthony's and Roxanne's trailer was kind of like holding it up. Yeah. So we're sitting there thinking like, oh, how are we going to have to build something here? Are we going to have to put like a rope there? Like, how are we going to do this? And David actually was over there and he was talking with us that day. And he's like, y'all got your horse trailer over there. Why don't you just drag your horse trailer up over here? And we're like, duh. Why didn't we think of that? Because it was something so simple. And here we are thinking we're going to have to build this big old thing and we're going to have to connect all this stuff. Yeah. And he's like, you're just missing a trailer, but you still have another trailer over there. Why don't you just pull that one over here? And so it's having that break or whatever, or having somebody else look at a situation sometimes too will give you some clarity, even though it's like Captain Obvious sometimes,
Well, when it's your own project, you're so into it in your mind that you sometimes get tunnel vision on what you see in your head and trying to get it out that you overlook some of those easier tasks. So.
Yeah. And it's true, but I'm super happy that you guys are here with us today. You guys are still going to be in our area for this week, pretty much.
Well, until the shop calls that the truck's done.
Yeah. Well, don't worry. There's plenty of stuff that we can do over here hanging out, getting some work done too.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we are going to have some more bouts of bad weather, but we've got basically the next 3 days, including today, of bright sunshine. Later on in the week, we're going to get together for Mama V's still too, but we'll talk to you guys more about that as it gets closer. As for today, we're going to put it in. We're going to get to work. We're going to start working on this decking. Our goal for the end of the month for us, and again, playing whack-a-mole with weather and also going and helping out some of our friends with their projects, because a lot of us have those time restraints and everyone's trying to make sure everyone's all good. And that's what we do in this community. So, basically, by the end of this month, we would love to have our decking in the back connected to the roof and like ice and water shielded and that part done with. So we have a lot of work to do, but if we just chip away with it like a little bit at a time, like today, we're going to get some of that blocking and stuff done. We're going to get some of the other stuff situated. That's going to be a huge check off the list. So I'm pretty confident that we're going to get there. And I thank you guys for all your help and being willing.
Thanks for having us. I mean, we're excited. You know, this is our first chance and opportunity to get here.
Yeah.
You know, the last visit, there was, bouts of sickness and illness. And so we didn't get around and we look at everything as a blessing and, not exciting to have a vehicle break down when you're not home and you're traveling, but we couldn't have broke down in a better location around better people. And, it all happens for a reason. And this is allowing us an opportunity where typically we would be 90 miles an hour on a trip, like, oh man, can we get everything in and go see everybody? And without the truck and kind of, it grounds you. It keeps you stuck, and not stuck in a bad way either, to where it's a little inconvenient. Hey, can we get a ride to here or there? But then it allows us this opportunity to come and help everybody out. And we'll just have fun.
Yes.
God's way of forced slowdowns are probably the best.
Yeah.
And it is every much as beautiful. It's way more beautiful. Oh, y'all, you guys see that view.
It looks different in person, huh?
Different I mean,
you'll never get that in the camera, no matter how many. And I've spent a lot of hours watching your videos because you guys honestly were. I watched a lot of your videos as to deciding whether Arkansas or somewhere else because of the views.
Yeah.
And, honestly, I couldn't tell you what went on in those videos.
Because we were
But I can tell you what was in the background and how the weather was and the cloud, not trying to figure out your location specifically.
But trying to figure out like what it would be like if you were out there and like the things you would be dealing with, for sure.
And we ended up, we're 4 hours away, so we're in a different part, but we love it because we have the opportunity now to come over and hang out over here and enjoy the west side, and then we get the central Arkansas part of it when we're at home. So
and you guys live in a pretty mountainous part too. There are some parts of the state that are flat, but just not in this area. No. Like we're in like the, I guess, northwest or west or no. East. Yeah, west.
West.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute. I'm turned around.
See, I'm not the one directionally challenged.
Yeah, I'm directionally challenged.
Being in the northwest, and we've traveled a lot of Arkansas looking. And so the flattest part we found is the northeast corner up there. It might as well be Kansas up there. But that's where all the rice fields and stuff like that are. So we're just beyond by maybe an hour or two of that flatland, and we start to get into the foothill stuff. We don't have as big a ranges over as you guys have over here, but
it's still beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. The entire state of Arkansas. I have not been anywhere in this state and not been like, oh, it's so beautiful. Like the entire state is lovely.
Yes.
I absolutely love it here. But you know what? I think it's really surprising too, because a lot of people like from different countries, right? When they'll think of the United States, they'll think of like Florida beaches, California beaches, and they think of mountains and stuff. Sometimes you'll think of like Idaho and Montana, right? Yellowstone and those types of areas and stuff. And those are very beautiful, popular areas. But there's so much more of God's beauty just around every state. Vermont's gorgeous. Yeah. You know, up in Connecticut is absolutely gorgeous. gorgeous. So
Yep.
it depends on the type of weather you're willing to deal with, you know?
Yeah.
The more north you are, the colder it is. The more south you are, the hotter it is. And it's extreme on both ends of that.
Right.
And then if you're in the center, you got to deal with the naders. That's just something that's going to happen. So, you know, you just got to take what you want with that. But anyhow, we can ramble, friends. I love you guys so much. Thank you for hanging out with us today. What can they expect to come on your guys' channel soon?
So currently, well, we just moved into the tiny house, and that was a rush and a push to get done for Christmas. And we jumped right back in, and we are starting the YouTube studio.
Sweet.
Nice.
So and it's a structure that we'll be milling all of our own lumber for, because we have a sawmill.
Dang.
And it'll be a nice place for division of work and home.
Yes. No, I hear you.
Close enough to the tiny house that we can just walk out and put all of our editing, all of our merch, because I also we'll have our own merch department there in the YouTube studio. And so it's going to be a fun build, because we're really, really trying to not purchase any supplies for the YouTube studio.
Yeah.
So we're going to be resourcing everything, which we normally do anyway. But
No, I'm totally into that. That's super awesome.
And then the barn will go up. Well,
we have to lock down the location of where the shop's going to go before we can build it, but the studio will be the big
we're
push
not
for right
at
now.
a shortness for projects for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, when living this lifestyle, there's always something to do.
Yep.
There is, and we have a laundry list of things in our head for the property development, because you know, like you guys buying raw land, you got to start from scratch, which takes way more brain power than I ever expected.
Yeah.
No.
The thinking out of where things go, you know, you spend your whole life where you buy a property, the home is already there, a building is already there. Maybe you put in a shed or you do something, but you don't get every, you know, and you always want that, right? You're like, man, if I could have done it this way, and now you're at it and you're like, wow, okay, this might be slightly overwhelming. You know, so but that's where outside sources, you know, our friends and family and stuff have really come in to kind of step up and help us of, guys, we're in this pigeonhole. We're just seeing everything with blinders. What's your thoughts?
Exactly.
And, you know,
But the journey's half the fun.
It is.
And this is all a part of the journey.
And I was going to say one thing too, just, you know, with how it goes, right? You'll build something and then you'll start living in it and utilizing it for its purpose, and then you'll change things. And
we're already planning the log cabin.
So I'm just saying that's just how it goes, because your daily functions, there's always certain things that you don't think about, or maybe your daily functions change because life changes, life is fluid, and you got to be like water with it. Because if you try to resist it, you're going to drown.
Well, and ours did somewhat already, in the fact that our original plan was buying the land and then building a single-story log cabin to live in from trees on the land. And we started to convert what is now our tiny house that we live in. Yeah. We were converting that to just be a small shed for our son to live in until we could get ours. That way we could have our room back in the RV. And then we got a little ways into it, and someone was like, no, it's
so cute, though. And I could just see the dreams, and this could go there, and that could go there.
And we're loving the tiny house for sure. Like, it's perfect for two of us.
Yeah.
But we don't need the loft. We're getting old.
And, you know, having a loft as a bedroom was never a plan. We actually had said we're not doing that. Like, guest loft, fine. Our primary, no. So instead of necessarily putting, because there is the option, right? Do another addition, right? Just keep adding on to your house like Legos.
You can.
And, but instead of doing that, because we love the footprint that covers without going beyond it. So we've discussed, and we've got the land to do it. We'll just, when we get our major infrastructure in, then we'll end up building a log cabin.
Just like the Bearded Carpenter, because he's my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but... Anyway, that's what we got going on. There's no shortage.
Yeah. So guys, make sure to go check out White Rock Homestead. You guys can check out all their videos that they got on there. I'm sure you guys have a ton about building your tiny house and checking things out.
And we put up a cattle panel greenhouse. Of course, we got the chicken coop. We've done a lot in a year. We've only been on a property a year, so
Heck yeah.
Well, make sure to go check them out, friends. Link down in the description below. We're gonna put them to work today. We're gonna get
I'm
that.
ready.
I know. I'm excited. I'm excited. It's gonna be a very good day. So on our channel, guys, I do have a video coming out on Simple Life Reclaimed today. It should be live. I want to say I set it for 11 o'clock, so you guys are getting it a little bit early. And all of our channel members, it's already released. So if you guys haven't seen it, make sure to go check it out and give it a thumbs up. You know, all that fun stuff. We really appreciate you guys. We will be back here on Simple Life or on Real Talk with SLR tomorrow for another episode, Monday through Friday, typical thing. And it seems like we're going to be working on getting some of the other footage out for the roof raising party tomorrow. So we're going to be blessing you with videos this week. I got a lot of stuff that I need to just work in the matrix and get out for you guys. So I hope that you guys are ready because it's going to be a crazy week. It's a lot. But all right, I can jabber on and on. Love you guys. You know the drill. Until the next one, we hope you have a good one.
And we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye, you guys.
Bye.
Later.